The only thing standing in the way of China's global domination is America. The Chinese Communist Party has a plan to take the US down from the inside. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. American leaders are selling us out to China. And the best thing is, it's bipartisan. Yeah, that's not always a good thing. Now in Washington, the view of the Chinese Communist Party is increasingly negative. So what is an authoritarian communist regime to do? Go around Washington. The Chinese Communist Party is working on making inroads with small-town America. Anne-Marie Brady, an expert on Chinese influence operations, says the CCP calls it using the local to surround the center. Basically, if China can buy off lower-level officials and businessmen, they can get around whatever Washington throws at them, using democracy to undermine democracy. This is something the CCP openly admits. They call it subnational diplomacy. There's even a subnational affairs department at the Chinese embassy in Washington. It's led by a guy named Zhou Zheng, who says, "Our purpose is quite simple, to promote subnational cooperation. For example, business investment and people-to-people exchanges." People-to-people, like when Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton was invited to China 4 times. And when he became president, he normalized trade with China, gutting American manufacturing. Subnational diplomacy really ramped up after the 2008 financial crisis. The American economy was in tatters, and the allure of China's seemingly endless wealth was a powerful draw. More than 100 sister city agreements were signed, while dozens of Chinese government-linked Confucius Institutes set up shop in U.S. universities. Again, this was all the CCP going around Washington to subvert the U.S. at the local level. And I do need to point out, this has been going on forever, well before Xi Jinping came to power. As Anne-Marie Brady says, we have a hostile foreign state that's deliberately trying to target your political elite to engage in political warfare. This past fall, when President Biden could not get a meeting with Xi Jinping, China invited California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, I've mentioned several Democrats so far, but let me remind you this is bipartisan. Recently, the U.S. Heartland China Association led a bipartisan delegation of 6 U.S. mayors on a trip to China. They were Mayor Jim Brainerd of Carmel, Indiana, Mayor Barbara Buffalo of Columbia, Missouri, Mayor Lee Harris of Shelby County, Tennessee, Mayor Choki Lumumba of Jackson, Mississippi, Mayor Kim Norton of Rochester, Minnesota, and Mayor Robin Tannehill of Oxford, Mississippi. Now let me talk about Mississippi for a moment. It's a Republican stronghold. The governor, Tate Reeves, called China an existential threat to America. He banned TikTok on all state-owned devices. But he recently approved tax incentives for a $1.9 billion EV battery factory that is 10% owned by a Chinese firm. And Robin Tannehill, mayor of Oxford, which isn't far from that proposed EV plant, said, "I think we face challenges of kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by eliminating opportunities because we're scared of them." Yeah, don't be afraid of China opportunities. It's not like we're dissidents getting our organs harvested, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of laws Congress passes about China. The CCP just goes around them straight to the local level. And suddenly, the democratic process isn't so democratic. But this kind of subnational diplomacy is getting more difficult. As our friend Joe says, if we approach some local governments, in particular Republican governors, they just refuse to meet with us. In the past, these were things we just did normally. But these days, everything is demonized. Oh no, relations with China are being demonized? Maybe if your government stopped using rape as a form of torture, things wouldn't be so demonized. That's why more Americans are distrustful of China than ever. And as they pressure the government to reflect that distrust, invites have started coming in for more U.S. mayors, as well as business people, university staff members, artists, and others to visit China. Let's not forget, even with everything going on, Xi still got a standing ovation from America's business elite at the recent APEC summit. China is going to be a big factor in the 2024 election. Already on the campaign trail, Ron DeSantis criticized Nikki Haley for exactly this kind of subnational diplomacy, after she welcomed a Chinese fiberglass company when she was governor of South Carolina.
She welcomed them into South Carolina, gave them land near a military base, wrote the Chinese ambassador a love letter saying what a great friend they were.
Trump is talking about a massive new trade war with China, with a flat 60% tariff on all Chinese imports, and has claimed the reason he's facing so many lawsuits is because he tried to end the sellout of our country to communist China. But with the Communist Party using subnational diplomacy, it won't matter what the president does. Which is why it's once again up to the American people to hold their elected local representatives accountable, especially when they get fancy trips to China. But that is the zeitgeist, the spirit of the age, and I've got a video I want to show you about that. But first, it's time to show love to the people who make this show possible, the China Uncensored 50 Cent Army, fans who support the show on patreon.com/China Uncensored. As my way of thanks, I'll answer their questions at the end of these episodes. Today's question comes from Jay. Hi Chris, I started supporting when you pointed out we can set a monthly limit. Thanks for that. My question is, do you think the CCP has secretly archived a lot of historic records and artifacts from pre-communist China? And is ancient China something you have or will consider doing videos on? Recommendations welcome. Hey Jay, thanks for supporting us on Patreon. And this is a common issue because I don't think I've explained it clearly. On Patreon, you can support the show for $1 an episode or $100 an episode, whatever you want. I make about 18 episodes a month, so that can really add up. That's why you can set a monthly limit. What that means is, if you contribute $1 an episode and you put a monthly limit of $5, you will only be charged for the first 5 episodes of the month. You won't ever be charged more than $5. Patreon is really flexible, and your support there is really the difference between the life and death of China Uncensored. With all the demonetization and censorship, we don't make enough from YouTube to keep making the show. But as for your question, Jay, during the Cultural Revolution, Mao started a campaign against the 4 olds: old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. Anyone seen harboring any of those could be attacked and killed. Untold quantities of relics from China's ancient history were destroyed. Art, books, you name it. Some people probably did try to hide and preserve some of that, despite the great personal risk they were taking. But I'd say the largest quantities of Chinese cultural relics were preserved in museums around the world. Not just the British, but Taiwan in particular is an ark of traditional Chinese culture. Now, although I'm very interested in traditional Chinese culture, I don't think I have the capacity to make any more videos. So if you're interested in learning more about traditional Chinese culture, I really recommend this book, Sources of Chinese Tradition, Volume 1. Thanks for your question and your support, Jay. And since YouTube doesn't like me talking about controversial topics, particularly about religion, I've been hiding these topics in gaming content. Check out this video about what Karl Marx got wrong about religion, according to Mass Effect. Let me know what you think. And hit that orange button to support the show on Patreon. Remember, you can set a monthly limit. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.